All right, YouTube. So in this video, we're going to talk about some of the things you need to consider when starting your business. So you already started, you have a couple of customers, and you're trying to figure out, okay, like, you know what, every time that this issue happens, I need to resolve it, and it takes a little bit too much time, so I should automate that. Okay, people are starting to ask for like some pictures of my work, or people are trying to understand all the services I offer. So you're trying to use technology, social media, print media, um, to get things so in front of customers so they can make a decision. So I want to cover some of the things you need to consider that are very high level, that are very important. And the first we're going to talk about is here on my list right here. There we go. Is software for execution. So what does that mean? That means the software needed to do your job. What is it going to be? So one of the big things you'll see companies have are CRMs, or customer relation management software. And basically, what that allows you to do is you can take information from your customer and store it somewhere. So you can use this on a Google Sheet, but there are more advanced features that you can do with CRMs that really help in the long run. But for let's say you have a very small business, you can just use Google Sheets to keep your customer first name, last name, their phone number, and the date that you bill them, and then maybe the last time you build them or something like that. So it's just to help you remember, okay, I went to that guy's house on this day and I cut his grass on this day and he paid me on that day. So it goes along kind of with your invoicing, but it can be separate just so you have a customer list. You can just, again, Google Sheets. But as you get more involved, you can need a couple extra features, and that's where CRM start getting involved. So that's one of your examples for executions for software. Other things could be a phone system. Other things could be an appointment system. So like you want people to pay ahead for their appointment, or they have to make a deposit to make an appointment with you, something like that. That's your software for execution. That is going to be very hard to find at first because you're not going to be sure. Sorry, you're not going to be sure what to get or what to use at first. So you're in your trial, you're in your evaluation periods. You want to find software that already exists. So if you need booking, you can look at Calendly or something like that. If you need streaming, there's different solutions. Maybe YouTube works, maybe Vimeo works, etc. So you're evaluating platforms. What you don't want to fall into, what you don't want to do, is sign up for something that has yearly commitments, or sign up for something that you really don't know if you're going to use or not yet. You're evaluating software. You're trying to figure out which solution will work or won't work. And it will take a little bit of time. You might even think you found the right one, and then 3 months down the line, you got to switch. But since you're just starting off, you have a small amount of data, switching isn't too hard currently. But that's super important. Like, let's say you are coming from a big business to starting your own little business. That's very common. You worked for a very large corporation. Now you want to start your own thing. You're used to a complex phone system that used to have maybe a dialer or very advanced features. And now you're working off your cell phone. So that's an adjustment. You're like, hey, you know what? I want to get the phone system that we used to have at my old job. But if you get the 5.9 phone system, it's a minimum commitment of a year, and it's like $135 per user, and then $1,000 every month to host it, etc. So you're incurring this big cost you don't need up front. And that's what I'm trying to steer you away from. Do not sign up for yearly contracts yet. Do not sign up for software that takes a big investment. That also includes custom software. You'll see as well people who start businesses like, oh, I should build my own software that does everything I want it to do. And that's a good game plan, but you're just not there yet. You need to first figure out what software can or cannot do. Then maybe 6 months to a year from now, you can work with someone to build a custom software. Just know that it can be pricey, it can be expensive, and then you're adding a bunch of technical debt and other stuff that we're going to get into next. But that's when it comes to your software for execution or your things for execution. You want to protect yourself, use a trial period, and use a gift card or a virtual card. So there are services that let you create virtual cards. You can just head to the store, load $10 on a gift card. They're usually only pre-authorized $1. So as long as you have $1 on the card or $5 on the card, you'll be fine, and you can get away with using that card for whatever trial period, because it's very common for you to sign up for something and then forget about it. I know it happens to me. So you don't want to get billed all at the same time, or billed for multiple things you did not use, because trying to get a refund can be a problem. So those virtual cards or gift cards will save you there, because they can't. You can set the limit to $1 on a virtual card, and they can't bill. It fails to bill, they cancel your free trial, and you don't even have to remember to cancel. So that's going to be your software execution. The next thing I want to talk to you that it's super important, that is big in 2025, is your website. So there are so many websites on the internet, so many you don't even know about. Every little small business has a website. And in my personal opinion, I feel like a lot of websites aren't needed. There are other tools that will allow you to do what you need to do, but you do want your system to be branded. So your system can be comprised of multiple other pieces of software that you bunch together to make your cooperative system, but it doesn't need to be all of yours. So basically, what you're doing when you create a personalized website is, yes, you're putting branding out there, you're creating stuff for people to find, you're showing your company, so to say. But there are other ways to do that. Now, let me get into the cons of having your website, and then we'll get into the pros. So, con number one is you're responsible now, depending what you set up. We're going to assume you're going to go with a custom website that you set up on WordPress or something like that. So that's who I'm talking to right now. You have a custom website on WordPress. You're responsible for all the technical know-how and technical stuff. Yes, there are one-click installs. There are companies that will help you with managed hosting. But at the end of the day, if your website shows a white screen and it says you have a 500 error, it's on you to figure out what went wrong. So now you're going to go hire a developer or work with someone you know, but it's not something you can solve. You want technology to work for you. You don't want to be working for technology. So you're adding a technical overhead of that. Sometimes it's not really that big. Sometimes it is very, very annoying to deal with, especially once you start dealing with the nasty people on the internet. You piss off the wrong person. They might have more technical ability than you. They start spamming your site with spam content, spam orders, just overloading your website with stupid attacks. And now you're responsible for that when you're hosting your own website. So you have a lawn care business. You need to show your customers or your potential customers what you do, what services you offer. If you do more advanced landscaping, if you just cut grass, if you do other arrangements of landscaping, etc. You put together a website. Your website has the front page that has your contact information. It has some pictures of your staff, maybe a view of the equipment, some pictures of the stuff that you do. Then it says we provide lawn maintenance, we provide custom landscaping, land clearing, arrangements, tile, whatever, all the services that you do offer. Then the next page is a contact form so they can put in their info, contact you. Then the next page might have a map that shows where you're located. It has your address, your phone number, um, and maybe a picture of your building or a picture of some tools or something. This is a very, very generic, very simple site. A lot of small businesses have sites like this. My opinion is you don't need that because you can easily accomplish the same thing with Facebook or Instagram, and it'll be a lot more smoother depending on your customer to start gathering leads. So at the end of the day, all the stuff that you do on social media, all the stuff you do on your website is to get more customers. So if you can get more customers faster, you don't need to put multiple steps in front of them for them to get to you. And what I mean by that is, let's say you meet someone, right? At You're cutting grass, you're out there, so another customer stops you and they go, "Oh, hey, what do you charge to cut grass?" And you go, "Oh, well, I got to look at your property, but I'm on a tight schedule right now, so I'll come back next week. But do me a favor, just go on our website. You can see everything that we do, all our services. Just send us a message through our website, and then we can set something up through there." So now they have to go on your website. They have to send you a message. Then a message most likely going to be an email. You'll get the email. You'll get to respond when you can. You respond to the email and you finally, let's say, book the job or don't book the job. That was at least 3 steps for the customer to take that could have been simplified or easier if you would have used a platform they might already be using. Now, this isn't the case for everyone. It's really going to depend on your customer here. But if you're dealing with people, I want to say older people who have homes, who are taking care of their lawn or want lawn care, they're going to have Facebook. So you could have said, "Oh, yeah, hey, right now I'm cutting grass. My phone's in the car. Do me a favor, look up so-and-so on Facebook right now. Get your phone, and then just send me a message right there." They already have Facebook. They can easily message you on Facebook and you can talk to them right there. Now, I know Facebook may not seem like the correct business tool, but it's just a quicker way to gather a lead. As you develop a back office, as you develop staff to help cultivate customers and put things in line of your process so that you get the right customers, you'll see that they'll transition from Facebook to your proprietary software or your additional software that then helps you quote, puts them on a plan, takes their payment. You'll get more advanced. But right now, as you're a small person, you need to reduce the amount of resistance your customers have to deal with you and the amount of work you have to do to deal with your customers. So try to understand that you can leverage Facebook or Instagram as a very powerful tool to help you in the beginning. Because the same thing is true with Instagram. Let's say you do home design or interior design or cabinets. These are some things that really pop on Instagram. Really, a mom or so and so will see it, Facebook as well, but they'll see a nice, pretty redo job on Instagram, click the profile, and immediately be able to message you because your profile is set up correctly for you to accept messages. All your contact information is there. She can see all the other jobs you've done, etc. So that is a big, big, big benefit that I think is overlooked by a lot of people. Now, the other thing when it comes to branding and URL is you have mycompany.com, right? So mycompany.com, you can tell people to go there. It's super convenient and branded just to you. But if you tell someone, hey, go to instagram.com/ my lawn mowing company, it's not as involved. It's not as branded. It doesn't feel like just you. You're telling them to go on Instagram and look you up ultimately. So what you can do is you can create URLs that you can give to people. And this is big in marketing, but it's also very helpful when setting up your brand to have your main company name, which is, my URL or mycompany.com or yourcompany.com or mycompanyisthebest.com, whatever your URL is. But then you want to have a shortened version that you can easily give someone over the phone or in person, that's unique. So you could have mycp.com, mycd.com, myn1.com, whatever it turns out to be. You want something that's easily able to be pronounced over the phone and easily able to be said in person so that you can give that URL right away, and you might use that URL on print media. So it's okay to have a long URL name. So like you could have sales at Mike's Lawn Mowing Service ny.com. Really long URL gets the point across. You're Mike, you do lawn service ny.com. It makes sense. The URL makes sense. But imagine telling that to someone over the phone, they get it wrong. Trying to give that to someone in person, they might get it wrong. So you can just go, hey, oh yeah, my URL, what's my email? What's my website? It's Mike mmny.com or mmmny.com. And that's a lot easier and quicker to say on the phone or to give someone in person. So the reason why I bring that up is because you can also make a branded URL that then will go to Facebook or Instagram. So you could have, Mike's Lawn Mower Company ny.com, and that can go to your website. But depending on who you're dealing with or the situation you're in, you might have myyN.com that redirects to Instagram. So you can point them directly to Instagram. They type in your URL, but it'll take them to your Instagram page or your Facebook page. So that could be beneficial as well. Basically, I'm not against having your own website. I'm just saying you don't need your own website right away. Don't let it be a deterrent. Don't let it be something that stops you. You're like, no, I can't launch my company, or I can't pick up more customers because I need a website, but I can't get the website done because this guy wants $3,000 or because I can't do it on my own or I don't have enough time. You can set up your Instagram the right way, the right profile picture, all your contact information right at the top. They can even hit call. They can hit maps right on there. Then you can have highlighted stories. Really get your Instagram game up. Highlighted stories that showcase your best services or the services that make you the most money, and then pin posts, your top 3 pin posts that show who we are, our team, what we stand for, our main services, etc. And then below those 3 are all your regular posts that could just be your every day-to-day posts about your marketing, the messages you want to spread to generate revenue for your business, projects that you've done before and afters are always big, things you're currently working on, so you could show like, hey guys, here's the step of this and that. So when it comes to your website, don't be afraid to hold off on having a website at first and utilize Instagram or Facebook to do the brunt of the work, because they have platforms that you can utilize right away, day one. The other thing I have here you see is comes down to security, risk, and financial burden. So as your website continues to grow, get bigger, you are going to run into issues with security and technical debt. As you continue to develop your website, let's say you make a website, you have custom software that the customer can come in, log in, see the last time they were serviced, schedule new service, some sort of customer portal, payment integration. It gets real complex. You have technical debt. You have integration, you have software written that was written by someone else that the next person may not understand. So as you switch developers, work with more developers, you take on more technical debt because you are working with people who may have done things different ways, and they have to understand each other's work to bring that work forward. And depending on who you hire, if you go with the cheapest, you could end up with someone who wrote really sloppy, bad code that it's not even worth to understand. You're better off rewriting, and you can end up in that doghouse where you're paying developers more for your website than what you already spend on your website. The other thing comes down to risk and financial burden. So let's say you hired that guy to build that custom platform, and he was in India or Indonesia or overseas somewhere, and he built it all for $1,000, a great deal, it works well. Well, you know how he saved you all that money is because he didn't put any proper security into your website. So eventually you piss off the wrong person on the internet. A bot, just there's tons of bot traffic on the internet you wouldn't even know about. A bot just randomly pings your website, finds it on a forum somewhere, on a Facebook post, just randomly pings your website. Your website responds with something the bot can exploit. It goes, oh wait, they're running this old operating system. Let's try this generic hack that used to work on that operating system. They try it, it works, your website's compromised. Depending on what information you're storing, now you're in trouble. So let's say I doubt you would ever store social security numbers, but credit card numbers are a thing that you could store if you're going to rebill customers, etc. All those are now leaked on the internet, and you have to disclose that stuff, and it requires special insurance. So that's where you run into risk and security. So if that's why I think in the beginning, building complex software or websites is not worth it for your business. I think once you have time established and you know exactly what your business needs, then it makes sense. But in the beginning, I think you leverage social media to be your website and to help you with all the stuff that you need, instead of trying to do your own thing with software, etc. Now, the last thing, not the last thing, sorry, we got two more things. The other thing I want to get into is social media. We talked about it already, leveraging it instead of your website, setting it up, the redirects, etc. Now, tips for your social media that you need to take care of day one. You want to reserve all the usernames on any platform that you plan to use. So Mike's Lawn Service NY, you want to grab that Instagram handle. You want to grab that TikTok handle. You want to grab that Facebook handle. And it might take some work to get them. There's some requirements to change to a URL instead of a generic name. So like um, on YouTube, I think you need to have 100 subscribers. I don't know what it is for TikTok, but there might be some things you need to do in order to grab those names, but you want to make sure you do that right away, because you don't want to end up in a situation where now your company has grown, it's 2 years in, but you never grabbed the TikTok name, and when you go to get it, someone else has it, and then your one TikTok is off from everything else. So then people aren't sure if you're the same guy as that other Instagram profile. Or it could be even worse. Someone grabs it, notice you didn't grab it, and then they start bashing your company on a official looking company page. So just you want to save yourself that headache, grab all the names at first. Then you need to begin posting on social media. That's very obvious. But you don't need to post everywhere all at once, especially when you're starting out. You need to pick one channel and stick to it, or like a combination of both. So like let's say I would call YouTube one channel, but Facebook and Instagram are kind of together. TikTok's definitely one channel. LinkedIn's another possibility. Um, You might consider your social media to be community boards across the internet. I don't know. There's different types of social media, but Instagram is going to be a big one. Facebook's going to be a big one, depending on your crowd. Even Snapchat, depending. I mean, I don't know who you're dealing with or selling to, but I'm going to give you the example again of lawn care. I feel like people looking for lawn care, Facebook and Instagram, relatively good places to look at. If you have a very specific gimmicky toy or business, like you're, let's say, you sell fan art, but you also sell like a little toy with your fan art. I feel like TikTok might be a good thing for that, where you can first get people from TikTok to come to your shop and buy. And then when I say your shop, it doesn't have to be your own website that has your store. Yes, that is good, but you can start with eBay. You can start with Etsy or other platforms that allow you to sell right away. Even TikTok Shop will allow you to sell right away. And then eventually develop your own website. And you don't have to go fully custom. There's Shopify, there's WooCommerce, there's other platforms that allow you to sell stuff. Everyone's going to get a cut, but if you can't give the people that need a cut to sell your product, you're not selling your product for enough. Understand that big products or products in general have the fees and everything that's associated with all the e-commerce stuff baked into the price, and you need to be able to do the same with your product. So keep that in mind, that you want social media to work for you. You need to invest time in social media, but you want to at first stick to one platform or the combination of two platforms before you go crazy and start posting everywhere. And you really want to learn the game of those platforms and have your profiles tip top in those platforms. Your other ones you may not even need to post yet. You just want to make sure you have the name and access to the name. Something I forgot to cover before, along with your website, I'm going to jump back real quick, is domains and email domains. So a lot of people, even to this day, still use my company name at gmail.com, Mike's Lawn Service at gmail.com. You can do sales or info or service at Mike's Sales or at Mike's um, Lawn Service ny.com instead of gmail.com. You can set up branded emails. It's very easy. Whenever you buy your domain name, you can do email forwards, and you can keep your Gmail. You can just forward the emails that would have gone to that email straight to your Gmail, and it'll look like you have a professional email, but when you reply, you'll reply from a Gmail, but that's okay. You could also actually set up email like through Outlook, or Gmail has like Business Suite. There are other solutions for business email, but since you're just getting started, you don't need all that yet. You just need that um, email forward that you can buy with a domain name. So look into email forwarding, Google it. It's very easy to set up. They're just going to ask you, what email do you want to create? Where do you want it forwarded to? Easy to set up, simple, quick, easy. Um, there's two things I have here. We talked about Instagram. We talked about YouTube, Facebook. If you have anything that is like informative or educational, YouTube's a great platform for it. So that can be lead generation. So that's when you might want to invest some time on YouTube once you start teaching people how to do things and not just showcasing what you've done. That's when YouTube becomes a good lead generator for people who might want to do something on their own but could use your help for a certain part of it. Um, the last thing when it comes to media or branding in general is like paper media. So like I don't know what kind of people you're dealing with, if they still want flyers, still want pamphlets, or snail mail marketing. Snail mail is like what you get in the mail. That's what they call it, snail mail. So basically, all that stuff, don't forget about it. You don't may not need it right away, but a massive flyer campaign that you send to everyone in your area is possible. You can buy that information. You can buy a service that someone will pack everything for you and ship it to people. There is crowds that still use that stuff. Back in the day, there was a lot of junk mail, snail mail, junk mail, but that's kind of died down. A lot of companies aren't doing it. So depending on what you're doing, there is a huge volume to that comes in results. So if you think, hey, I'm gonna send snail mail to 1,000 people and one person reaches back, that's kind of the ratio. You need to do 30,000, 50,000, and it's monthly. You need to get involved in that game if you think that will be beneficial for your business. You can test it out once or twice. You won't know till you do it, but don't forget that that's an option for you as well. A lot of people forget about paper goods and having business cards, having flyers, having pamphlets, different pinouts you can give to people, sometimes instruction manuals. Like the paper goods still matter. Paper products people still care about. Um, so don't forget about it. I know everything's digital. We covered everything digitally so far, but you don't want to forget about that stuff. And then the last thing is going to come to design and working with designers or engineers, etc. Um, the first thing I want to talk to you about is designers. A lot of people don't like to pay for design for some reason. A lot of designers overcharge, in my personal opinion, but that's neither here or there. I think Canva is a good starting point because sometimes it's very hard to communicate what design you're looking for, but Canva can get you like 80% there. You can bring that to a designer and go, hey, I want to change X, Y, and Z. And that is easier to work with and less expensive than a designer starting from scratch, making you sample A, sample B, and sample C. AI will help you get kind of there, and then you can have a designer come in and finish, or you can use the AI logo. Don't be afraid to change your logo. You're not a huge brand that everyone knows. So if your logo was something, when your company was at 6 months, but now 2 years later it's something else, as long as they look relatively similar, I don't think anyone really will notice that hard when you're a smaller company. The other thing is Fiverr and Upwork are services with freelancers or service providers that will help you complete a certain project. So Fiverr and Upwork now are both project based, but Upwork also has freelancers. But you can go, hey, I need to design a flyer. They'll have someone who will say, I'll design a flyer for you for $100 underneath 24 hours and give you 3 revisions. Excuse me. And that's great for when you're trying to accomplish things. You work with someone on a project based setup where they just help you with that specific project and then you move on. The last thing along with all that is to try to find someone local for the services that you are going to need. So try to find a local software engineer, try to find a local designer, try to find a local print house, because they'll help you in the long run when you're in a pinch. You may not know it yet. Right now, you might have all the time to do the things that you need to do because you're not servicing that many customers. But as you start to get more busy, when you call that, when you were on Upwork dealing with the software engineer who's in California, but you're in New York, and there's a time lag, and you need to figure out how to do this now because later on you're going to be in meetings, or you're going to be coaching, or you're going to be cutting grass, or you're going to be doing nails, or you're going to be cutting hair. You need that change then. So it's easier to call someone who's in your time zone and go, hey, Mike, um, you know, that website thing that we were talking about, I think I want to do it. I want to change this to that, change that to this, and change this to that. Do you think you can get that done? Yeah, I'll get that done for you. And that simple phone call is a lot easier to continue to function with and make and work with a local person than it is someone overseas or someone remote. So it's not bad to have those connections. I'm not saying you have to use it all the time, but I'm saying if you have the ability to make those connections early on, they can be super beneficial when it's time to grow or do a specific project that you need in a pinch. So keep that in mind. I know this video is really, really long. There's a lot of stuff I covered. If you have any questions regarding any of the stuff I covered, let me know. I'm talking to you from experience. I've used trial periods. I've used gift cards. I've used virtual cards for stuff for software. Um, I have my own like legit technical website where I've gotten filled with spam orders. I've gotten denial of service attacks. I have a firewall in place, and people still, I would say every month there's someone attacking my website where I can see it. I have monitoring. So there's nasty people out there. There's bots that are constantly hitting things that don't exist. There's bots trying to hack your website every day. I keep customer information, which includes first name, last name, addresses, because we're doing shipping. So I have to protect that stuff. I don't share that stuff with anybody. That is why my website has backups. It has auto deletion. So after 2 years, your stuff gets deleted. Um, Said backups, it has a firewall in place of it. The servers don't have access to them. Like, there's a lot of technical stuff that it comes to when you're running a complex website, especially e-commerce. But I do have full control. I do get to make custom modifications because I have another website where I have Shopify, and Shopify, I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. Any security risk, anything like that. If anything gets hacked or leaked, that's on Shopify, not me. For me on Shopify, I have to make sure I ship the customer's orders and I update the tracking for their orders. That's really all I have to worry about. But on my own website, I have that technical deck, that security and stuff to deal with. When it comes to social media, I have Instagram for my business. I have Facebook. My Instagram and Facebook really aren't big for me. I post on there, but it's really to show like highlights. What's big for me is YouTube. On YouTube is where people know me from. That's where people see my business, see my products, and want to buy them. And since my content's educational, they use my product to do what I'm doing in the video. So I know that I have a URL that I give over the phone. I often forget to use that URL, and I'll give people the full company name, and they'll be like, "What was it again? One more time." So remember to keep that short URL super important. Um, we talked about that for social media. We talked about that. I don't do snail mail. I don't do flyers. I do business cards and support documentation. So that's super important. People need that when you go to order something. On the back here, it has like instructions. It's like super hazy. Then my business card, like I put it in the box. So I've worked with people on Upwork. I've worked with people on Fiverr. I'm telling you, it's all coming from experience. I've had my own small business for 6 years now. I had another business before that. I used to work for a small business. I've worked for larger corporations. I've done IT in big businesses, small businesses. So I have a lot of background in this stuff. So if you do have any questions regarding any of this stuff I mentioned, I'll try my best to help you. Leave a comment down below. And you guys have a good day. And thanks for watching.